I'm going to go bonkers again. There's something about the third baseman this year, and this quite possibly is my favorite prospect out of everybody. There might be one more. His name might rhyme with Met Billiams. But let's call this guy what he is. He's an absolute superstar for the Tigers. His name's Colt Keith, and he's 6'2", 211 pounds. He is age 22. He was drafted by the Tigers in the 5th round, pick 132 overall out of Biloxi, Mississippi. Colt Keith is literally my favorite prospect. Max Clark might be up there in the Tigers organization, but Colt Keith is still my number one. This season in 2023, he had 507 at bats between 2 different levels, Double A and Triple A. His average was 306, on base of 380, slugged 552 with a whopping on base plus slugging of 932. He had 121 strikeouts, pretty high, 60 walks, 27 home runs, 3 stolen bases. We don't care about that. 38 doubles, 3 triples. I said this once, and I get made fun of it about it quite a bit. And I said this about Alec Burleson. He's a man. Everybody else just get out of the way. And that's Colt Keith. Just get out of his way. This guy is a superstar. I don't care. Go get him. Pay whatever you have to. I'm excited about the Tigers' future. Riley Green, Colt Keith, Max Clark. It's going to be so much fun. Colt Keith, give it to me. Who's doing it?
I'm jumping in.
Who are you guys going to do it?
I'm jumping in because I'm kind of. I feel like I've really, I really dove deeper in the prospect game this year. Now I'm like forced you guys to bring me on here and stuff like that. But even as recently as the MLB draft this year, when I was knee deep in it all, and I was like, dang man, I really wanted Max Clark. Max Clark, I saw him play here in Indiana. He's just down the road. He's a stud, and it seems like we'll talk about Clark some other time. That's a whole podcast. But I was disappointed because I wanted him to go to Texas. And I was like, yeah, baby, let's do that. And I was like, he's gonna go die in Detroit like all these other prospects. But I'm starting to realize what? No. Things are turning around up there. Things are turning around in a big way. Starting to get some healthy pitching. Pitching's showing up, but the bats are really interesting. Yeah, you say Clark. Green's coming around. Torkelson. I was there. I went on the way up to Canada recently. I stopped off for a game for Miggy's last weekend, and Torque launched a bomb. Kerry Carpenter. Anyway, we can go on. Point is, he's gonna be. This is Colt Keith has man. There's just something about a baseball name, isn't there? Colt Keith. Yeah. That name alone, that's just like that
name.
That's at least a 70 grade baseball name, and so that alone's gonna cost a bit more to get him. But yeah, he's a big boy, good baseball build. And, sometimes you'll see those strikeouts, 121 to 60, strikeouts to walk. Okay. It's not like the dream. It's not Evan Carter. But it's not like that's a roadblock for guys like Gunnar Henderson. Dang it. I had another guy off the top of my head, but yeah, all around the league, there's guys you can get away with it with certain. Nolan Jones is who I was thinking of. It's this weird sometimes there's these weird guys who they get on base. Even though they strike out quite a bit, maybe that'll be, something that he goes through. But with that power, the power is going to keep growing. I think he's still young. He was 21 last year, and so I think we're seeing a guy. He does like you said. He just seems like a middle of the order, 3 or 4 bat. You know what you're getting. You're not getting stolen bases. Frankly, I don't think Gunnar Henderson's too crazy. Of maybe someone with something similar. You don't want to say that about anyone because Gunnar just lit the world on fire. But frankly, it's not the craziest comp for me to make. So yeah, Colt Keith. Good luck getting him. Awesome.
No doubt.
Brian, you called this one last year. You said to go get Colt Keith, and he was popping on Scout the Stat Lines model. I don't even think he was ranked in the top 100 by 2 of the biggest 3 baseball publications out there. So
and he was only 98 on another one.
Yeah,
I think he cracked the top 100 on Baseball America. I believe
Baseball Prospectus. He was 98. I think that's the one that Doc is referencing.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he nailed that one, and now he's if he's not a top 10 prospect, he's borderline top 10,
Yeah.
or he should be. He is for me because he's just been a masher and he's a middle of the order bat. He's a guy kind of guy you want to build around, and the Tigers will. If they got Torque in the 4 spot and they got Keith in the 5 or 3 spot and Max Clark hitting just above them or Riley Green hitting just above them, maybe Clark is leadoff. I don't know, but it looks really interesting when you pile all those guys together. So yeah, I'd say Colt Keith is definitely somebody you want to roster, but the obtainability of him is going to be a lot tougher than a lot of these other guys we've talked about. That's why you want to buy him when we first talk about them, like we did last year, rather than this year. But he's still worth buying if you can. So go get him.
Yeah, and I want to expound on this just a little bit of the prospects that we have, not just this year, not just next year, not just the year after that, but the 2 years before this. We have had some. It's been an incredible 6-year span of prospects that we're going through right now. Of who's going to fight for number one. I don't think Keith's ever going to be the number one prospect, and he could certainly deserve to be. But you got Wyatt Langford, you got Dylan Cruz, you got Skeens as a pitcher. All of these guys. We are going through a phenomenal run of prospects right now. Phenomenal run. It's wild. It's wild. I mean, you had some different years of Andrew Benintendi. Yes, he had a great minor league career, but should he have been the number one overall prospect? I don't know. I don't know. I think we are in a golden age of baseball right now. I really do.
That's time and place sort of thing. I mean, if you were saying Keith, if he was in that class, would he have been above Benintendi then?
Yeah, I don't.
That's a different story. Yeah, he might have been. But, even at that time when Benintendi was there, you're right, that was a weaker crop. So he may have been the best prospect of that group,
Well, what's kind of interesting, I mean, just, real quick, is like, well, what do those guys have that Keith doesn't? Well, he's capped by his lack of speed upside. And so that's going to hold you back, especially in fantasy rankings. But what I kind of like, maybe I'm old school a little bit. I kind of like the guys who you know what you're getting. They're sluggers. And the reason I kind of like that is there's a floor there because these other guys sometimes, like a Benintendi, what happens when the speed goes away? Ooh, turns out there's not a whole lot. It's like, dang, he kind of needed that. So yeah, that's the upside to going with your safe guys. Formerly Freddie Freeman, who apparently at 33 figured out how to run. So there's guys like that. You want them on your team.
Yeah, for sure. Colt Keith, he's expensive, probably out of everybody's. Unless you're going to give up Mookie Betts or something to get Colt Keith, you're probably not getting him. But go get him. I don't care. Go get him.